This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I think a lot of this is going to be kind of wacky, and I'm kind of half joking with some of it, right? But that also means I'm half serious at the same time. So hopefully this will be entertaining, if nothing else. We're going to sprinkle some alpha in here, of course, as always. And we'll check on the live positions and the TA at the end and that kind of thing, as always. I think I overused the term wild times, right? If I'm being honest. But these are incredibly wild times. Okay, we're witnessing the largest and most concentrated instant market cap expansions in history, with no proven future revenue cost or earnings models to back up the investments or the valuations. This market is running on an incredible amount of blind faith at the moment. Exactly when or how it ends is to be determined, but one certainty is present, and that is, when it eventually does blow up, everyone is going to be asking the Fed to come to the rescue again, and that of course means more printing, more inflation, higher interest rates, and everything that comes with it. And I think one of the biggest problems we've got at the moment, okay, is most people that are currently in the market joined around this C19 era, right? They saw this huge spill during the C19 era. They saw the printing, they saw everything go to the moon, and they just came to the conclusion that this is normal, right? This is what happens here. If you're in markets, if you're an investor, this is how we do it, right? This is the new paradigm, so to speak. People just think this is how markets really are, when in fact, this was a massive outlier at the time. It's still an outlier today. And as if that outlier wasn't enough, at the hard right edge, this is even more bananas, and this is occurring without any stimulus, right? This is occurring on quantitative tightening. So if you are new here, and by new, I mean you joined sometime around C19 or after, then do know this, okay? This is not business as usual or normal or to be expected. These are incredibly wild times. It's difficult to explain how wild they are if you haven't got, 10 plus years experience. But this stuff is end of cycle stuff, okay? Not just end of 4-year cycle stuff. This is end of 42 plus year bull cycle stuff. Nothing makes sense anymore. All the data's fake. All the macro data's manipulated. Okay, this is just this is just the end times in terms of financial markets. So it's going to get a lot more bullish before it comes tumbling down. But don't make the mistake of thinking that this is, sustainable long term, because it absolutely isn't. Okay, nothing makes sense anymore. And when things don't make sense, eventually the chickens have to come home to roost. Now, keeping in with this theme, okay, I think we've actually just entered my least favorite part of the 4-year cycles. I am a contrarian when it matters most, and whilst everyone is here having fun, I'm starting to get annoyed and grumpy. And for my long-time followers, right, that's what I do best. I despise crowds, it makes my blood boil, and you actually can't train this, okay? You're either the kind of person that despises normality and despises herds, or you're just one of these people that doesn't even notice them because you're in the middle of them, right? But my favorite thing about what's coming soon is quality increases in the bear markets. Many accounts that have gotten by until this point will soon be wiped out. They'll disappear altogether until all that remains is quality. So quality season is coming, but first we've got to get through the everyone's an expert phase. Then we can wipe out all the noobs and know-it-alls, and then all we'll have left is quietness and quality. And I say, bring it on. But first, we've got to get more insufferable, a lot more insufferable. And that's because everyone's a genius in a bull market, okay? But bear market survival is for the elite of the elite only. And so if you're having fun here, if you're feeling good about your gains, okay, you are actually in grave danger. So expect me to be rather grumpy and short-tempered as I demonstrate what it really takes to go against the herd, okay? Everyone wants to be a contrarian until it's time to do contrarian things. This is by no means the first time I've demonstrated this ability, and it certainly won't be the last. But what comes over the next few months is nothing short of horrible if you've been here a long time, right? If it's all new to you, it's all fun and exciting. But for people like me, it's like, here we go again, right? Here we go again with the everyone is an expert and everyone knows it all and no one can learn anything and I'm a LARP and I'm inexperienced, even though I've been doing this longer than most people could ever possibly achieve. And you can see my old tired grumpiness starting to come out, okay? So expect a lot more old grumpy Uncle Camel videos in the coming couple of months, and expect me to sell when no one thinks it's a good idea as well, okay? Also, I'm just pre-warning you of that. The market has latched on to this false idea, and that is that the Bitcoin cycle is not broken, it's just no longer 4 years, it's now a 5-year cycle. Right? It's going to peak in January of 26 instead of 25. Now,
This is what I mean by nonsense, okay? Because if it peaks in January or February or March of next year, it's still a 4-year cycle. It's just slightly more right translated than it once was, okay? And again, like, this is the kind of hubris, arrogance, and conceit that makes Camel a grumpy old man. Because again, I've been doing this a long time, okay? And when you come into my realm and you start talking about my things, such as cycles, and you start bastardizing them, plagiarizing them, misrepresenting them, okay, it gets my back up a little bit, okay? I don't really appreciate this. I don't like to tolerate this. I'd spend a lot of my time trying to make cycles available to everyone and trying to give people an edge so that they can actually take money from the market, as I demonstrate is possible every day on this channel. And then we get stuff like this, okay? Just total misinformation. So again, I'm going to try and chill out a little bit today. I don't think we got to go all the way to angry Uncle Camel right now. But again, if you want to understand how cycles really work, there is so much information I've put on my channel, on the website, here, there, and everywhere. We just gave away over 2.5 grand's worth of PDFs on the 35k live stream. So there's really no excuses, okay? You can go and learn the rules, and you can understand that if we peak January 2026, that does not change the 4-year cycle because we're measuring them low to low, and the lows are static. And it is the very reason they are static that we have such a powerful edge and alpha over the market. One thing I do agree with, though, wholly speaking, is we are going to start to go absolutely vertical from here for Bitcoin. I think we are going to have this big blow off top. I think you're going to see me do what I often do, which is set some angles in here. I don't know what angle this will be, second or something like this, and then third. Might even get a fourth if we're lucky, okay? Just like we got with the gold mining stocks, and then we'll be looking to sell. I still think we top before Christmas, okay? But I'm open to being proven wrong as always. Once we got some angles set, if it's going to keep holding them for a while, then I'll just stay long and strong until they break, same as I always do. And I can see it's not just me that's getting a little bit frustrated with people taking the cycle theory system and misrepresenting it. I can see Bob also poking fun at the people that are doing this, okay? Where we've got these silly kind of accounts saying things like, today's October the 6th. So if you believe in the 4-year cycle, this should be the Bitcoin top. So are you selling it all right now, or are you doubling down for alt season? Even though, again, right, this is clearly not how it works, okay? It's just people like to take this stuff out of context. And that, again, goes back to my least favorite part of the cycle, right? Everyone's an expert. Everyone knows it all. Everyone's got their opinions, right? But not many people can do this at the top level consistently back to back for years and years and years, okay? There's a reason your average trader or investor has a career expectancy of just 3 years. And we have to be honest with ourselves, okay? When the markets have done this for the past 3 years, when valuations and macro and nothing else matters, when the Bitcoin chart looks like this over the last 3 years, do you actually know what you're doing? Do you? Or have you just gotten on the right side of a massive rip-roaring bull market and you haven't really been tested yet? You haven't had your defensive skills tested. You haven't had any kind of major shift in trend to put your defensive skills to the test. Every dip has been buyable, whether it was a good idea or not. And so are you really forged in fire here? Or are you a noob that thinks it knows it all because the Dunning-Kruger effect is one of the most powerful forces in markets? I'll leave that up to you, okay? I do need to chill out a bit. Next up, I've got quite a few very nice charts here, starting off with this one from Gel, okay? Harvesting season is here. Take your profits on the way up. Take a look what happened, okay? Q4 2023, we got about a double off the lows, okay? Q4 2024, a little bit less than a double, but not bad, okay? If we can get a double from here, that puts us around 200k in the next kind of 3 months, which again is consistent with what I've been saying about getting a nice big pump into the end of this year, selling before Christmas hopefully, and then going to enjoy some festivities before coming back to what I believe will be a bear market and global recession in 2026. So you tell me why something like this couldn't repeat over here and see us at about 200k Bitcoin. I'm here for it. Whether it happens or not, I'm here for it. It's been a while since I've covered the power law. I'm actually not a believer in Giovanni's power law, to be completely honest with you. I think at some point this thing's going to break. But this current model does kind of fit my idea that we are going to get this pump into the end of this year again, somewhere up to, I think, around 220k is the power law model. That will be fine with me. And then it'll be time for a bear market whilst every man and his dog is talking about no more 4-year cycles, no more big drawdowns, all of this kind of thing. But we'll see, right? We will see. Now, I also wanted to pause here and kind of back up this idea that the 4-year cycle is fully intact using a couple of other charts. So first of all, here's Bitcoin on the left-hand side, and you'll see these bear markets for Bitcoin typically coincide with big bullish upthrusts in the Dixie, right? The dollar basket. Now, not only are we into legacy support that goes back years and years and years and years and years, not only are we thinking about inverting the 3-year cycle here, okay, and getting a push, but we also know we're in a heavily disinflationary trend and the Fed is overly restrictive on its interest rate policy, meaning my call continues to be in play, and that is that we are going to reach a short period of asset price deflation in the middle of 2026. Now, if this is true, you can bet dimes to donuts we are going to see an enormous push here from the Dixie. And if we go to my melt-up chart, right here. The pink text, which has been here the whole time. Okay, you can see here, Dixie to 134 to 140 plus. Now, I have to be honest, I think this might be a little ambitious, okay? But 124 seems very, very reasonable to me, which would be somewhere up in this neighborhood, okay? That's an enormous pump, and if deflation is a thing, then we'd absolutely expect that. It would be silly not to expect that if deflation is a thing. So then herein lies the first question using a different chart, okay? If this is the current setup for the Dixie, we're looking to invert the 3-year cycle low, get a period of dollar overperformance or dollar relative strength, and have this coupled with deflation, which again would send the Dixie spiking higher. If all of this is intact whilst bouncing off of legacy trendline support, you tell me why Bitcoin should just continue to blast higher, okay? I don't really believe it. Now, at the same time, it suddenly occurred to me that whilst I'm extremely bullish TLT here over the kind of next, I don't know, let's say 18 months, right? We've been talking about this on all platforms, level 3 members, on the Slice platform, on the JISA series that we started on this channel recently. I've been posting about this on Twitter as well, okay? That we are in that neighborhood now to get that final flush into a weekly cycle low, which is also the 7.5-year cycle for TLT. And then it should be time to see this thing run over the next 18 months. So herein lies the second question. If the 4-year cycle is broken, or is now a 5-year cycle, or is going to cease to exist, why is it the TLT is in the process of putting in its final low in its 7.5-year cycle before then it starts to rip violently to the upside, okay? I think it's because it's not a 5-year cycle, it's not broken, and in fact what we're about to see is risk top into the top of its 4-year cycles, whilst TLT bottoms into the bottom of its 7.5-year cycle, and then we're going to get an inversion. We're going to get TLT running to the upside, whilst Bitcoin, the stocks, and gold likely roll over to the downside, probably because we're entering a global bear market and recession, and there will indeed be a short period of asset price deflation in the middle of 2026. Let me know what you think, right? Let me know what you think. Is it crazy? I don't think so. I think it's in the charts. And then for a couple of slides of fun before we head into some charts again, Charlie Lee says he regrets creating Litecoin and wishes he just bought Bitcoin instead. Which is pretty funny because I see Litecoin being touted all over the internet as this is one of the coins that's about to pump, this is one of the chosen few that's going to not succumb to the narrow breadth in the market. I don't think so, really. I think this is just going to get dogged on. When even the creator is saying, oh, it was rubbish, it was a bad idea, I shouldn't have done it, it was a waste of my time, should have just bought Bitcoin. I don't really think these targets of like 10k Litecoin are on the table. But if you do want a crazy target, okay, I had this funny idea. I was half trolling with this initial tweet when I said, look, tell me why a face melting XRP rally to 30 bucks can't happen, right? And I put the wink at the end because I'm half trolling, right? But it is a pretty funny idea. XRP does a 10x from here, hits about 1.67 trillion market cap. The breadth remains very narrow. So it's just a handful of these coins that outperform Bitcoin, and that's it. Party's over. Everyone's aiming for real alt season or broad-based alt season. It never comes. Everyone's aiming 5-year cycles. It never comes. Everyone cheers on no more 4-year cycle and thinks alt season is just starting, and instead, all we do is what we always do, and we roll over and we head lower for 12 months. I think this is max pain because every investor is forced to watch the dumbest investors in this space and the OF girls make a bunch of money, and yet the only seller will be Ripple itself. Right? Because the XRP holders are going to continue to target $100+ a coin, which means the only winners of this cycle are the Bitcoin guys and Ripple itself. Okay, I think this is max pain. And if you really think about it, this idea is so crazy, it's probably the most likely outcome because ideas are bulletproof. And if you think about it, right, all these cup and handles for things like total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stables, we got a nice measured move target here of about 2 trillion, right? If XRP is the only one that pumps, that gets this target met. And then you just have a handful of other ones that do okay, right? All the major indices hit their technical targets, and somehow everyone is still left holding the bag going, well, why didn't my altcoin pump? I think this makes perfect sense. I know it's kind of crazy, and a lot of people don't buy it, but once again, you only have to go to this post, okay, even though I'm trolling, and scroll down, and all of the comments are the saltiest, angriest, most hateful comments you will ever read. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Now, this is not me telling you to buy it, right? This is not me saying that there's any sense in what I'm saying at all. This is absolutely not a shill or a plug for this coin. As you know, right, I do not care. But I do find this kind of dumb speculation and pointing at things like this hilariously entertaining. And we even have an Elliott wave count that supports this idea, okay, that we could easily get up into this $10 plus neighborhood. So time will tell, as always. You guys asked for the XRP analysis and I gave it to you. I'll also honor my word here by doing some ETH TA to kick things off. It's still hung up, isn't it, around the prior high. I still think my call is correct, and that is that it's not going to outperform Bitcoin from the 4-year cycle low to the ultimate high. If Bitcoin gets to 150k, it will have done about a 10x, right? From the actual 4-year cycle low, it did even less performance, but let's take it from the ultimate low, okay, which happened about 6 months before Bitcoin's 4-year cycle low. For it to do a 10x, it really needs to make it up significantly higher than where it is now. It needs to make it to almost about 10K, just under 10K, right? About 9.8K Ethereum for this thing to do a 10x. And if Bitcoin goes to north of 150K, this thing's got to go even higher. Now, I just don't think that's the case. I don't think this is likely. Of course, I'm happy to be wrong. If the market proves me wrong, I'll hold my hands up and admit it, as I always do. But I think you guys will be lucky to get 6, 7K here out of this. I think that would be fine. I think you should be grateful with that. And if true, then you're still going to have massively underperformed Bitcoin. Okay, now these gains are not to be sneezed at. It's just to say the original macro call that Bitcoin would outperform Ethereum this 4-year cycle would remain intact. If you bought the dip back here after the tariff tantrum, happy days, right? You're up handsomely in just a few months. And I suspect there's a little more to go to the upside first. But I am certainly not in this camp of people that believes 10K ETH is on the table. And as crazy as it sounds, okay, and I admit it sounds crazy. I admit it sounds very dumb. I do. But as crazy as it sounds, I think there's more chance of XRP making it to like $20 than I do ETH makes it to 10K. I don't know what makes me say that. I think it's a sentiment thing. All right, a lot of people seem very, very steadfast. This is a quality coin here in Ethereum and that this is absolutely guaranteed to go 10K minimum. And then I look at the sentiment around XRP and everyone just hates on it. They just dog on it. And markets have this very weird way of upsetting the people that are on that kind of herd or crowded side of the trade. So if it was the other way around and every man and his dog hated Ethereum and they were all jumping up and down and cheering on XRP, then I would say it the other way around. I would say this thing has more hope of going to 10K than XRP does of going to $10. But it's just not what I see. What I see is everyone saying, oh, it's ETH season, this is about to pump to 10K. And I don't believe it, frankly. It just doesn't look like it, right? Why is it lagging so hard? It's doing exactly what I thought it would do the entire way. So time will tell, as always. For the people that keep asking me to cover XRP and Ethereum, I hope that satisfies you, right? I hope you're satiated with that. I will say this, don't expect me to cover them every day, please, just because they're not really occupying my mental space, right? So I log on, I do my thing, and I log off, and then people go, where was XRP and Ethereum? Don't expect them every day, okay? But I'll throw you a bone every once in a while when I can remember to do so. Bitcoin, I think it hit about 126K yesterday. Can't complain with that, right? Our count's still in play. So we're just going to sit back and let the market do what it's going to do there. There's not really much more to say about that, apart from we're still running with the original count. So happy days, long and strong, see what the market can give. Gold briefly touched 4K, I believe, almost. So long and strong there, and silver getting ready to attack that $50. Probably needs a little daily cycle low to shake out first, and then I think it can go. And the stock market seems to have confirmed we've got a daily cycle low in here. I think we're just doing the same thing, but from kind of here. So happy days, long and strong, and I think this can continue for a little while longer. So I'm your boy Camel. I hope you found some entertainment here today. I hope you consider what I say about where we are in these major 4-year cycles. I hope you'll think for yourself, okay? So don't just take the things you see on Twitter at face value, and that includes me, all right? Don't take what I say at face value either. Make your own decisions, be your own person, and consider all possible outcomes. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel